Next on KQED Newsroom, Wall Street is all a Twitter with the latest social media IPO. But is there a downside in the Bay Area to its success? The Google Barge floating in San Francisco Bay, a mystery only partially solved. Sunnyvale makes national headlines with a new law taking aim at gun violence, spearheaded by its mayor.
No city, no entity is immune from any of this at all.
Plus, how to keep Lake Tahoe blue.
The ultimate goal is to restore clarity to what it was back in the 1960s.
Good evening and welcome to KQED Newsroom. I'm Thuy Vu. This week's election thrust the South Bay city of Sunnyvale into the national spotlight. Voters approved a new gun law and the National Rifle Association is threatening to sue. The new law will require gun owners to lock up their weapons and report firearm thefts. Gun dealers would have to keep records of all ammunition sales, and perhaps the most controversial, a ban on large-size magazines. The new law takes effect January 1st. Scott Shafer sat down with Sunnyvale Mayor Tony Spitaleri to find out what inspired him to push for the law.
Mayor Spitaleri, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here.
You really pushed for Measure C, to put it on the ballot and to get it passed. What made you so passionate about it?
Many things, but the one that really drove the point home was the unfortunate incident in Newtown, where young children that actually this past year should have been going to school and not going to school. And that made me angry. And, you know, we hear about all these tragic shootings across the country, and we feel sorry for them, and we have compassion for them. But I don't think any of them made anyone angry as that did.
Who were you angry at?
I was angry at the fact that it happened. How can such a tragedy happen? How could they, not they, but how could something like that, how could anyone even think about hurting young children when you know, they're just starting their life, you know, they're enjoying life, they're a pleasure to have, you know, they're exciting to be around, and someone just ends their life like that, and you think, how senseless, and why aren't we doing anything to prevent that?
And so the politics of it made you angry also?
Absolutely,
yeah.
Absolutely. That's what drove it home, is that, you know, I was, like anyone else, said, okay, this has to be the catalyst that our congressional leaders and our state leaders are going to say, this is it, this is enough, let's do something about it.
Now, we all know Congress didn't really do anything about it. And what makes you think that Sunnyvale, a city that's, you know, 140,000 people, one out of 100 cities and towns in the Bay Area where there's 7 million people, what makes you think that one ballot measure in one town, one city, can make a difference? Well,
I like it to the ban on plastic bags. It started in one town, then it went to another town, then it went to another town. So in Santa Clara County, we have no longer plastic bags. It has to start somewhere. And no city, no entity is immune from any of this at all. Yeah.
But on the other hand, how are you going to enforce it? I mean, you're not going to have Sunnyvale police knocking on doors and seeing if guns are locked up. I mean, how will you even know if people are, you know, violating the law?
You know, it's no different than most of the gun laws. You don't really get involved with the gun laws till something happens. Today, our police don't, you know, knock on doors to see if you have fully automatic weapons or anything that you're not supposed to have. Generally, when you see a law enacted or take them on, is when it's in a commission of a crime or something or an accident. So it comes to light. So when it comes to light, you know, didn't you lock your gun up? Why not? Oh, you had a high-capacity magazine that has more, you're in violation of law. Those things would happen, right? We're not going to be knocking on doors and ask us.
But you compare it to the plastic bag ban, those bags are gone. I mean, yeah. That had a real impact. So is this symbolic?
Yeah, it was visual. But my point with the plastic ban was, you know, what good would we do with starting at one town? Well, my point is that we've already got calls from 2 or 3 other cities saying, we want to do something, the same thing you're doing. So that's the start of it. So if we can build a good base for our congressional leaders to stand on to do something about it, that'll work.
Wouldn't it be better for the state to do something? Governor Brown, for example, signed into law some 11 gun-related bills in this past session alone. He did veto a few of them also.
Yeah.
But wouldn't it be better to have a state and ideally a national law that would really do what you're trying to do?
Oh, ideally to have a national, yes. Can we get it on a national level? No, we haven't been able to get it. That's why it has to start from the bottom up, not top down. We have been waiting and waiting and waiting, and it's not happening. Yeah, in the ideal world, if the Congress or the state legislators can pass a statewide law or a national-wide law and they can get it done, fine. Yeah. But they're not doing it.
Now, of course, the NRA is threatening or promising to sue. They haven't done that yet, but is the city prepared to go to court and spend whatever it takes to defend this law?
We hope that, that doesn't happen, but if we have to do what we have to do to defend our law, we will. The NRA always, that's their first words out of them when you talk on any issue with guns. We're going to sue you.
Do you feel like they tried to intimidate you to prevent you from putting this on the ballot?
Well, they tried to, but their intimidation didn't work with me. But what they tried to do, which they failed to do, was try to intimidate our citizens, try to threaten them with lawsuits and the cost of things so they would be afraid to go to the polls. But our citizens stood up very loud and clear and said, NRA, you don't scare us. I
detect a little bit of a South Bronx accent. Are you like spoiling for a fight with the NRA?
I'm not spoiling for one, but I'm ready to fight. As a kid from the South Bronx, I'm used to fighting. So, like I said, bring it on.
All right, you're not going to back down.
No, we're not backing down. We can't back down. We cannot afford to back down. We cannot lose any more children. We cannot have any more children taking weapons to school and hurting other children. That has to stop.
All right, Sunnyvale Mayor Tony Spitaleri, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you.
The tech sector generated some water cooler talk and big headlines as well this week. Google finally shed some light on that mysterious barge in the San Francisco Bay. And Twitter made its trading debut. Enthusiastic investors helped the company raise nearly $2 billion in its IPO. Clearly there are winners, but are there losers as well? Twitter, Yelp, and other technology companies have moved to San Francisco's Market Street area in recent years. They've helped to revive the neighborhood, but they're also creating tension. For a look at what it all means, I'm joined now by three technology reporters: Arthi Shahani with KQED News, Michelle Quinn, San Jose Mercury News columnist, and Steve Henn, NPR correspondent. Steve, let's begin with you. With Twitter's IPO, the company still isn't profitable. So is all this investor exuberance, does it make sense, or is this reminiscent of the dot-com bubble?
Well, I would say it doesn't make sense if you just look at Twitter's financial earnings. I mean, I think if you look at their share price, their stock price, and how much it rose on the first day, I think that has less to do with the fundamentals of Twitter as a company than with supply and demand for that stock on the market. Twitter has, more than 200 million users, billions of people know about it, but the amount of stock they issued was relatively small in comparison. So I think there was a little bit of a mismatch on the stock markets, and that generated a big price spike. But I also don't think that Twitter is truly a pets.com. I mean, this is a company that has been
around.
Let's
hope not.
Right. Yeah. For years, it's generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue. Its revenue is growing by 100% a year. It has a very engaged user audience. It's a real company with real revenues. And they're not profitable now because they're investing in building for the future. So it's not just going to go away. Would I recommend Twitter as an investment? I'd be more cautious about that.
Well, don't you think that stocks are about the future? They're about the promise. Right. So a stock, dependable companies who produce great revenue, great profits, often have flat stocks if they don't have a good story about how they're going to grow.
Sure, but if you look at Twitter's revenue to share price multiple and compare it to Facebook, it's at its current trading price, it's twice as expensive as Facebook, and Facebook is growing faster in every metric. Its revenue is growing almost as quickly as Twitter's, but its user base is growing more quickly as Twitter's as a percentage on a much bigger user base. So, I mean, I think if you were, and I don't do this, but if I were to play stock picker, I would be hesitant to recommend Twitter. I wouldn't bet against the company. Right. I think the company has a great future. I just question whether or not this particular moment on the stock market makes sense.
What do you think Twitter needs to do to fulfill that promise that you were talking about, people buying stock, to hoping that they'll fulfill their promise in the future of becoming profitable? What does it need to do to make sure it doesn't end up like a Groupon or a Zynga, which are both now trading at way below their IPO price?
Yeah, one thing I wonder about with the Twitter pop, and it really had a great debut, right, is the founding story of Twitter is that it's like an ink blot. No one knew what it was going to be about, but everyone saw their own value in it. And now you see at Twitter a reshuffling of leadership again. Vivian Schiller, for example, is a huge name in media, used to be at NPR, then at NBC, now going over to Twitter. And you're seeing the gravitation, right, of major names in news, like David Pogue as well from the New York Times, going to Yahoo News. So I wonder if part of the excitement about Twitter is that, you know what, maybe in a year it's going to be about a lot more than tweeting.
Well, Twitter also generated some excitement when it moved to its Market Street office last year. And in fact, a number of other high-tech companies have moved to the Market Street area in San Francisco as well, including Square, Spotify. How have they transformed that whole Market Street corridor?
Well, you know what they've done that's interesting is that they've kind of made it okay for others to come. So that's one thing that's happened, is that was an area that these companies are moving into what were empty buildings. In the previous booms, people would start companies in Sunnyvale because that's where engineers wanted to live. They wanted to attract housing and ignored the city. The fact that they're moving into these buildings that have been empty has created a safe zone. Somebody who works for Yammer told one of our reporters that they moved into the mid-market area and they didn't feel okay about it until they saw Twitter arrive. And they're like, hey, maybe we're onto something here. So I think that there's definitely a revival. It still can feel a little sketchy at times. You're walking down, you feel a little nervous. But I think that it has kind of also planted, it's not the financial district. And so it's a place that has a lot more of different kinds of people moving in and out with different needs and different interests.
A couple of things that I find fascinating about the Twitter building itself, and it's actually, they just have a few floors in that building, and a cleaning lady who was walking in the morning of the IPO, she's at Miss Nicaragua, shout out.
That's great.
She now has thousands of followers.
Because she loves her Twitter, but she actually works at Yammer.
Okay.
And she was telling me, she's like, in the building, we're not all equal. Like, the Twitter workers get in before the Yammer workers. So she was giving me a little bit of building politics. So there is within the sort of the subculture of high tech, the elite, that you always manage to create the haves and have-nots, right? If you can call Yammer that.
Well, and speaking of haves and have-nots, I mean, that whole sense of equality. You've got a lot of tech workers pouring in now. Their incomes have risen by about 17% over the past year. And I was reading something by the Bay Area Council that says, incomes for other jobs, such as retail, just 1% over the last year, and income stayed flat in health and education. It shrank by 9% for nonprofits. Do you get the sense that gap between the haves and have-nots is widening, and is it causing resentment?
I think that there's one very clear indicator this week that caught my eye, which is that on Tuesday at the voting booth, San Francisco voters rejected a high-rise complex on Embarcadero. They were, it's a kind of housing, residential housing, luxury housing that meets the needs of high tech. But the voters in the city said, no, we don't want it. And I think that as well as some of the protests around the Twitter building the day of the IPO, there are these sorts of, more than just a murmuring, but an actually speaking out about concern for what's happening in the mid-market region, but also just San Francisco more broadly. But the flip of that, though, is that, I was at the Twitter building the morning of the IPO, just sort of trying to get a sense of, do people feel pride here? Does it feel like it's all of our IPOs, that kind of thing? And there was an ambivalence or a mixed feeling of, on the one hand, hey, I have more places to eat during lunch. I don't feel afraid. I don't think I'm going to get mugged. Everyone across classes feels that way. But then that's sort of, how long am I going to be able to stay here?
I think this is going to be this is going to be the story for the next few years here, because this is a boom that's not, it's not like pets.com, like Steve mentioned.
Right.
These are companies that probably could have gone public a while ago. They've got solid business models. They know what they're doing. So the riff is not going to just kind of even itself out with a downturn. That's what happened before. And I think that you're going to be looking at this, if it's going to be the Google buses, there's going to be all these sort of flashpoints of resentment.
Let's take a quick turn here and go to a story that sort of, has provided some fun water cooler talk. The Google Barge. We finally got some details about it from Google.
The hardest hitting story of the week.
Exactly. Lucky you. Exactly. What do we know about the Google Barge?
So what we know about the Google Barge is actually that this barge has been there for up to a year, at least several months. Oracle was doing some racing and some boat work around Treasure Island, and the people working on Treasure Island was like, what's all the uproar about? This thing has been sitting here forever.
But what is it supposed to be? It's supposed to be some kind of interactive learning center, right, for Google?
So they say.
Oh, okay.
So the barge is, it's under construction. It's a 4-story barge. And Google is saying now that, it's, it may be a showroom for Google Glass.
Right.
The tech community can come there and learn. It could be sort of an incubator on the seas, that kind of thing. We don't totally know what it is. We just know what Google is saying. It could be interactive space. One thing that was hilarious was the Chronicle reported that it was going to be it was going to look like a vessel with fins, like really
like
beautiful.
little sailboat fins.
Right. And there's a Google Barge Twitter handle with 5,000 followers plus, including myself. It happens. And Google Barge, the Twitter handle, tweeted back to the Cron story, "Never, I refuse to be dressed up in whimsical sissy fins. Behemoth is my style."
And so we have some details, but the mystery remains. All right. Thanks to all of you, Arthi Shahani, Steve Henn, and Michelle Quinn. Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
And now we move our focus to the California-Nevada border, where there's a battle to keep Lake Tahoe blue. The Sierra Club filed arguments last month in a lawsuit against a new plan that governs development along the lake shores. It and other environmental groups say the new rules favor economic growth over protecting the lake's clarity. Gabriela Quiros of KQED Science has the story.
Okay, we'll go around the island, we'll look at the waterfall, we'll look at some osprey nests, and then we'll go fast.
Lake Tahoe's famous waters are the clearest of any large lake in the United States. They attract 3 million visitors to California and Nevada each year.
The blueness comes in large part from just the incredible cleanliness of it. What's pretty wonderful is that you're really living in an environment that does have all the hallmarks of a national park, but anybody can come here, anybody can live here. And the trick is, how do we keep that quality and keep using it?
That question has guided scientists like Jeff Schladow and hounded policymakers ever since the 1960s, when researchers at the University of California at Davis first documented a decline in the lake's clarity. The university's Brant Allen takes measurements every 10 days.
When we try and translate lake clarity to the public, what they want to know is how deep into the lake can they see. And so I'll be lowering the Secchi disc down into the lake until it disappears, getting our clarity reading for the day.
Allen lets a frisbee-looking device called a Secchi disc sink until it disappears.
The 18 meters are right around 60 feet, and that's pretty typical for a summertime reading, so the Secchi does vary seasonally.
Since 1968, the lake has lost 20 feet of clarity, mainly due to uncontrolled urbanization in the 1950s and 60s. The 1960 Winter Olympics raised the lake's profile and encouraged development, as did Frank Sinatra, who hosted celebrities at his Cal Neva casino. Sierra Club volunteer Laurel Ames witnessed the development boom firsthand as a young woman growing up on the lake.
When I was in college, I came home one weekend and my parents said, "Oh, you should go down and look at what they're doing to the swamp."
What some residents considered a swamp at the south end of the lake was actually a large wetland, replaced in the 1960s by a maze of houses and canals called the Tahoe Keys. The wetland was no longer available to filter out dirt and pollutants before they flowed into the lake. When plans for development threatened a pristine corner of the lake, citizens organized. They pressured California, Nevada, and the federal government to enter into an agreement or compact that would regulate development around the lake.
They agreed that Tahoe was threatened and that Tahoe needed to be protected by a planning agency, a regional planning agency.
Starting in the 1980s, the Tahoe Regional Planning Agency restricted all new construction. scientists had discovered that dirt, eroding and washing in from urban areas, contributed more than any other pollutant to clouding the lake.
It's due in large part to very fine particles, things like dust that's come in from the roads, and also steep dirt surfaces prone to erosion.
Hard surfaces like roads and parking lots can keep transporting dirt years after they're built. So even though development slowed down, the lake continued to lose clarity.
The ultimate goal is to restore clarity to what it was back in the 1960s. That's a SETI depth reading of about 97 feet. Right now we're at about 70 feet, so that's a large change. If we can cut off things like pollutant flows into the surface, then we would estimate that in something like 20 to 30 years, the lake's clarity could be restored if all the right things were done.
But doing the right thing comes with a hefty price tag. $1.6 billion in federal, state, and local funds have been spent over the last 15 years on wetlands restoration and other improvements. And the Tahoe Planning Agency requires visitors and locals to follow strict and often expensive rules. Private contractors like Rob Basil make a living helping homeowners comply.
Everyone needs to pave their driveway, so when it rains, it doesn't wash sediment off your compacted dirt driveway and into the creek. And then you need to capture and treat the stormwater runoff from your roof and from your driveway so that it doesn't leave your property.
The new channel in his driveway is costing Brad Kohler $2,000.
I personally don't mind at all doing it, and not only am I willing to do it, I think it's really important to put in these filtration systems.
But even though this rule has been on the books for 20 years, only 1/3 of residential and commercial property owners have complied. The Tahoe Regional Planning Agency wants to change this, says Public Information Officer Jeff Cohen.
Meeting property owners at the door with a list of, you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to do this, and you're going to have to do this, has resulted in very little progress in environmental restoration on the private sector. So we're trying something new.
In the first comprehensive overhaul of its rules in the last 25 years, the agency has loosened some of its building restrictions, hoping to entice property owners to put in filtration systems. The planning agency holds up the Edgewood Tahoe Golf Course in State Line, Nevada, as an example of what it would like to achieve.
Most of the new hotel project will be located on the 9th fairway.
In exchange for permission to build a 200-room hotel on one of their fairways, the golf course owners agreed to remove a parking lot and 2 buildings that had been built on wetlands. Edgewood Executive Vice President Patrick Ramey explains.
So the investment in the hotel allows us to invest back into the land and do better for the lake and have the financial flexibility to add more wetlands and stormwater controls.
But the Sierra Club and several Lake Tahoe environmental groups filed a lawsuit in February to stop the new rules, which they argue will add more dirt to the lake.
When you increase density, you increase people. When you increase people, you increase cars. And when you increase cars, you have to add parking. So you add asphalt.
There isn't going to be an explosion of growth in Lake Tahoe from this plan. There isn't going to be a sudden explosion in land coverage, and certainly nowhere near the lake.
Preserving lake clarity is the lifeblood of any business that's here at Lake Tahoe. It's about the lake. That's the reason why people come here.
The battle will play out in court over the next year. So far, scientists believe that efforts to keep dirt out of the lake are paying off.
To find out about other threats to Lake Tahoe, you can watch KQED's half-hour documentary, Lake Tahoe, Can We Save It? At kqed.org/science. Time now to check in with Scott Shafer to see what KQED News is working on for next week. Hi, Scott.
Hey, Twee. Well, Monday, of course, is Veterans Day, and on the California Report, Aaron Glantz from the Center for Investigative Reporting is going to be looking at how the VA is doing at reducing that terrible backlog of claims that they had, reporting that he uncovered about a year ago. Sometimes the wait for help was over a year, so he'll be taking a look at, has that gotten better, and if so, is that change sustainable over time?
Well, nationwide, it seems like it might have gotten better. Just this week, the VA announced that the backlog was reduced by 34% nationwide. Will the report take a look at that as well?
Absolutely. And there's no question that the VA is putting more resources. They're working overtime to reduce the backlog. But again, the question is, how long can they do that? And they're also beginning to bring a computer system online, so that'll get rid of those stacks of files and papers that have slowed things down.
And also something coming up on 3 strikes as well?
Exactly. We're right about the 1-year point where voters passed Prop 36 a year ago. That changed our 3 strikes law, making it possible for people who are serving life in prison to get out early. And so we're going to have a look at how that implementation of that reform is going, how many people are getting out, how easy is it for them to get out, and what's happening to them when they're out on the other side.
Now, when this passed, some critics had said it would allow hardened criminals out of jail earlier. Has that really happened and caused a problem?
Well, again, the people who are getting out, their 3rd strike was non-violent. Sometimes it could be something as simple as petty theft. And what the statistics show so far is that the ones who are getting out are actually committing fewer crimes than others who are getting out. So it seems that for whatever set of reasons, and we'll be looking into what the reasons are, they are not committing more crime.
Let's switch gears as well. KQED Newsfix has an enterprise series going on about these ride-sharing services that are becoming so popular now.
The pink mustaches.
The pink mustaches, right? But there's also Uber and Sidecar.
Yep.
Are there issues with that?
There are. Well, of course, the taxi industry thinks they're going to put them out of business. But this series that the Newsfix blog is looking at all kinds of issues, including what are the insurance issues. If you're a driver for Lyft or Sidecar or Uber and you have car insurance, what happens if you get into an accident? Are you covered? Are you covered to the extent that you think you are? And then, of course, what are the implications of that for the passengers?
And just real quickly, we have the demolition of the Bay Bridge Eastern Span coming up. And also, you have an interview with Janet Napolitano.
I do. She's been keeping a fairly low profile, but the new president of the University of California will be speaking at the Regents meeting, her first since she took over at the end of September. And we'll be talking with her about her agenda for the University of California. And by the way, if you have questions you'd like to ask President Napolitano, you can send them to KQED Newsroom at kqed.org.
And for all of KQED's news coverage, please go to kqednews.org.
I'm Scott Shafer. Have a good night.
And I'm Thuy Vu. Thanks for watching.
Support for science programming on KQED Newsroom is provided by these generous contributors.